Good morning, it's Sunday on Mars and it's time for the weekly review of the weather and the forecast for the coming week. This edition of Sunday on Mars is brought to you by Mobius Transmetals. As I forecast, weather patterns on Mars were fairly typical last week. Large dust lifting activity associated with the defrosting South Polar seasonal ice cap continued over southern Cyrenum and Aeonia. Likewise, the western hemisphere of these polar latitudes also had some small dust storms and clouds. Looking further to the low latitudes, Cyrenum, Noches, and Cimmeria each had a local scale dust storm or two as solar wind density increased mid-week. As predicted, condensate water ice clouds were observed over south of eastern Valles Marineris and Asia Mons for most afternoon from mid-week into the weekend. Skies remained storm-free for the Mars Science Laboratory rover at Gale Crater throughout the week. Still no signal from Opportunity at Endeavour Crater. Daily dust and haze filled the Hellas Basin. This is expected this time of year as the southern ice cap evaporates, moving moisture northward into the middle latitudes. Here at the Mars Weather Forecast Center we can view the analytical data to predict the effects of solar wind on the Martian weather. The solar particle density and velocity waves of charged particles interact directly with the weak magnetic subsurface anomalies in the Mars' thin atmosphere to create weather on Mars. The Sun is currently quiet with no solar storms and only medium-strength coronal hole streams affecting the solar wind at Mars. The integrated space weather analysis data indicates that the solar wind density will gradually decrease during the week from 4 particles per cubic centimeter to 1.5 during the week. This will result in a reduced induced electromagnetic pileup layer of exchange ions above 400 kilometers. However, solar wind temperature will increase gradually during the week from 25,000 to 40,000 Kelvin by the end of the week. This is due in part to the arrival of a coronal hole stream elevating solar wind velocity from 450 to 650 km per second at the boundary layer. Based on this data, ice cloud condensation along the peaks of Olympus and Asia will clear by the weekend. A haze layer will build during the week in the southern hemisphere at the edge of the south ice cap due to solar ultraviolet input and associated water evaporation. The carbon dioxide fog in the Noctis Labyrinth Canyon system will evaporate in the morning as the solar thermal tide advances across the face of the planet. The coronal hole stream conducted by the Mars Solar Magnetic Connection may cause ultraviolet aurora in the northern polar region near the few magnetic surface anomalies there. Curiosity should have clear skies all week. It is currently -120 degrees with an expected high today of 54 at the equator. It's just after midnight at the Mars Weather Center and near sunset at Gale Crater. Mars will begin to enter the debris path of Halley's Comet, marking the beginning of the Orionic meteor showers. With any luck we won't be hit by a route traveling at 30,000 miles per hour. Have a productive weekend. We will see you back here next week on Sunday morning on Mars. Cheers!